Okay, go ahead. Calm them down.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. If we could ask everyone to find your seats. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Can everyone say Shabbat Shalom? Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat. Great. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Here on behalf of Rabbi Feinstein, our senior rabbi, Kenner Barron, Kenner Fox, all the clergy of Valley Shalom. I think that covers all the clergy right now of Valley Shalom. Board of Directors, all the members, we want to welcome you here today. And as we celebrate Shabbat, we celebrate the bat mitzvah of Bri Gold. Mazel tov. Let's all say Mazel tov, Bri. Mazel tov. Welcome. Mazel tov. We welcome everyone who are joining us on Zoom, social media. If you want to just turn around and give them a wave, wish them Shabbat Shalom. We're very happy to be together to celebrate today. Just a few notes before we begin. We're going to ask just for COVID protocols that everyone please do keep their mask on throughout the service. Anyone sort of behind this screen is able to take it off, but we're asking everyone else to please keep it on, and if you do need a mask break, to just step outside. We'll be davening out of the blue siddur throughout the service. Once Bri reads Torah for us in a little bit, we'll be using the red chumash, and both can be found on the tables in the back. In addition, we also want to welcome Cantor Shira Fox, who is with us today. Not a stranger to this community, has been with us on many occasions. I think grew up in this community, and is here both as a guest chazanit and also has taught Bri for her bat mitzvah. So we're honored to have you with us as well. We're going to begin on page 61 in our siddur with the words of Ma Tovu.
Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkelotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Mishkelotecha Yisrael V'ani brov chastecha Avu veitecha Eshtachavel heichal kodshecha V'yiratecha Ma tovu Ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkelotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkelotecha ואני אהבתי מעון ביתך ומקום משכן כבודך משכן כבודך מה טובו מה טובו ohalecha Yaakov, mishkelotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkelotecha Yisrael.
Matovu ohalecha Yaakov, how beautiful, how great are your tents, O Jacob. The first words that we say when we walk into a community, into a congregation, into a synagogue. The words not just represent the space, but the people who fill that space. And so we come together, and how beautiful it is, and we take that a moment just to recognize, after the year and 8 months that we have experienced, how beautiful it is to come together, to be together, to celebrate Shabbat together, to celebrate simchas like Bri's Bat Mitzvah together in the same space. In a moment, Bri is going to lead us in what we call Birkot HaShachar, the morning blessings. Some people call them Nisim B'chol Yom, the miracles, recognizing the miracles of every day. And over the last number of weeks, we've been taking a little bit of a deep dive into davening, as Rabbi Feinstein likes to call it, and exploring for just a brief moment various tefillot, various prayers throughout our service. And so before Bri leads us in Birkot HaShachar, I wanted just to take a moment just to explore this tefillah. The morning blessings, if you look at it, if you want to open up to page 65 in your Siddur, are these beautiful blessings thanking God for various things. And if you look at them, right, helping, enabling us to distinguish day from night. Praised are you, God, for making me in God's image, for making me a Jewish person, for making me free, for giving sight to the blind. At first glance at this tefillah, we see that these are really about the miracles of waking up in the morning. Right? The name, Nisim B'chol Yom, the miracles that we experience every day that, again, we might take for granted as we wake up. To be able to wake up, to remember that we are each created in the image of God, that we are human beings, to be grateful for who we are in the world, for making us free, being able to get out of bed and stand up in the world, for opening the sight of the blind, for actually allowing us to open our eyes. Small miracles that happen every day, the miracle of the human body, that it functions in the way it does. And so that's one way of looking at the tefillot, but we here our students of Rabbi Shulweiss, may his memory be for a blessing, that taught us that God also acts through us. And so we look at this tefillah not just as prayers of gratitude to a higher source of power, but we think about ways that we too can act like God. If we look in the Gemara, in the Talmud, tractate of Sota, there's a beautiful story that's told. And the rabbis ask, how is it that we can walk in the ways of God? Lalechet bidrachav. And of course, the rabbis answer their own questions. And they say, we can act like God just in the way that God comforted Abraham when he was sitting outside his tent and he wasn't feeling well. We too can comfort those who are sick, just as God clothed the naked, as God clothed Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. We too can clothe the naked. And so we can look at these brachot as well, as Rabbi Shulweiss, Zichrono Livracha, would say, right? How can I help others distinguish between day and night? Is day and night just about time of day, or is it a metaphor for life, of light and darkness, of good and evil? How can I distinguish between the two, and how can I help others distinguish? Rabbi Shulweiss would say, She'asani b'tzalmo, for making me in God's image. How can I, on a daily basis, treat every single person that I come across as if they too are made in God's image? For helping to open up the eyes of the blind, how can we open up our eyes the things in life that we might be blinded by or blinded to? How can we help others see things from different perspectives? If we keep going in the tefillot for raising up the downtrodden, thank you, God, but we say it to ourselves. How can we lift up those who are bent over, those who are struggling on a daily basis? That is our responsibility. And so these tefillot aren't just tefillot of gratitude, but they're opportunities for us to think about our own lives, who we are, who we want to be, how we want to act in the world. Rabbi Sholweiss would say that if prayer didn't move us out of our seats into the world to change it in some way, to change it, if it didn't change us in some way, that it was meaningless to sit here and sing the tefillot by rote, that we have to embody them and to think about ways that they can change us, change our actions, ultimately change the world. And so we join together. I ask everyone to rise, page 65, as Bree leads us in Nisim B'chol Yom, the morning blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu lesech bibina le'avchim beyom u'v'layla.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matis arumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rakah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'aif koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir she'ena me'enai v'numa me'afapai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael v'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tfara. Is there more?
Yasher Koach to Bree for leading us in Birkot HaShachar. We join together as Cantor Shira Fox leads us, Shochenad, page 105.
Shochenad marom v'kadosh shemo. B'fi sharim titalal, uvdivrei tzadikim titmarach, uvilshon chasidim titromam, uv'kerev kedoshim titkadash, uv'makalot rivavot amcha beit Yisrael. Lehodot lehalel, shabeach lefaer, leromim lehader levarech, leyaleu kaleis, al kol divrei shirot tishbechot, David ben Yishai, avdecha meshichecha, yishtabach shimcha ha'ad makenu. Brachot vehodaot me'ata ve'ad olam, Baruch atah Adonai melech gadol batishbachot, El hahodaot Adon haniflaot, Abocher b'shirei zimra, Melech el chei ha'olamim, יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
יעמד יברח ירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולם ימיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
We join together in the words of the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer, page 107, as Bree leads us.
Arechu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
We read together, middle of page 107. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. You may be seated. We continue page 108 as Cantor Baron, Cantor Shira Fox lead us El Adon.
El Adon hakol hamasim baruch v'mvorach v'fi kol neshama galo v'tuvo malei olam da'atu tvona sobevimoto המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונהנה רחבות על המרכבה זכות ומישור לפני חיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו
טובים מאוד שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת ובינה ובשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל
לאים זיוון פיקים נוגה נאה זיוון בכל העולם שמחים את צאתם וששים בבואם עושים בהם הרצון קונם
באר בכבוד נותנים לשמו ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא השמש היזרח אור ראה והתקין צורת הלבנה
שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מערב תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים בחיות הקודש לי 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 שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מערב תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים וחיות
חיות הקודש
האל אשר שבת מכל המעשים ביום השביעי. ויעל מאורי אור שעשית יפרוך הסלע, תפרח צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו מורי קדושים. כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים באימה וביראה רצון קונם, וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל. וכל המקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה ונעימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא הארץ כבודו. ואופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנסים למצרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ימותיתנו. אור חדש על ציון צעיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
אהבה רבה אהבתנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ותורה עמלת עלינו. אבינו מלכנו, באדון אדוננו, שבת קרבך, אבינו מלכנו. ותלמדן חוקי חיים, כן תחננו תלמדנו, אבינו האב הרחמן, המרחם רחם עלינו. ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. והארנו בתורתך, ותחבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויהי יחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד. כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא מלטפנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך.
As we prepare to say the words of Shema, we gather the four corners of our talit, which remind us of all of the mitzvot. We are reminded that we are all one humanity, all human beings responsible for each other, for lifting each other up, for taking care of one another. We join together, bottom of page 111, as our chazanim lead us in Vavienu, and we call forward Bri to prepare to lead us in the words of Shema.
והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך על גדול סלע באמת, להודות לך ויחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Shema Yisrael, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
והיה אם שמוע תשמעו מצוות אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם היום לאהוב אדוני ושמתם ויאמר אדוני משה לדבר ציצית והיה לכם ציצית וראיתם
We join together, middle of page 113, Lema'an Tizkeru.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם
אדוני אלוהיכם לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וכיסו נכון ומלכותו באמונתו לעד קיימת. עודנו ומצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך, עזרת אבותינו אתה הוא מעולם, מגן ומושיע. תהילות אל עליון, ברוך ומבורך, משה בני ישראל הכנו שירה, בשמחה רבה ויאמרו לך.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילה אוסף אלה, נורא תהילה אוסף אלה. כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילה אוסף אלה, נורא תהילה אוסף אלה.
שירה חדשה שיבחו גלים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, ומה בעזרת ישראל, ובטחינו מחד, יהודה וישראל, כה עלינו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני, קהל ישראל.
We join together in the Amidah, page 115b. We take 3 steps backwards and 3 steps forward as he leads us, Adonai Sfatai.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Yon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Ve'koneh HaKol Ve'zocher Chastei Avot Umevi Guel Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסירים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מחמוך בעל גבורות, ומדום מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב ביד נביאך, וקרא זה על זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוכו הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנשאים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומך מלכנו, מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו, לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים, ועינינו תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue with a moment of silent meditation. The words can be found on page 117 through page 120. Feel free to read the Hebrew, the English, the meditations for Shabbat on page 121 to add any prayer from your own heart. Conclusion, you may be seated. Join together in a prayer for peace. Sim Shalom, page 120.
Shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, sim shalom, tova uvracha.
shalom.
Shalom.
Tova uvracha. Sim shalom. Tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Rachamim. Sim shalom.
Sim shalom.
Tova uvracha. Sim shalom. Tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sim shalom.
Sim shalom.
Tova
Tova uvracha.
shalom. Tova uvracha.
Shalom. Sim shalom.
Tova uvracha. Sim shalom. Tova uvracha. Tova uvracha.
Kaddish Shalem, page 138.
יתקדע ויקדע שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא יברא כנותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קרוב ויאמרו. יהי שמי רבה מבורך. לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינסה. ויהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשו. Rigulei lamin kol birkada b'shirata tush b'kada v'nechemata damiram yama v'himmaru tikabal salot honu v'adahonu kol Yisrael kodam avan v'shmai v'himaru Yehei shlama rabba min shemai v'chayim alenu min kol Yisrael v'himaru Ose shalom imromav uyase shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'himaru
You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Bree, last night you received a lot of advice from family and close friends. Your sister will continue to give you advice as you grow up. But some might say that there is certain advice that you get from people who brought you into the world, which will continue to guide you along your journey, that is advice that will forever stay with you, as will the advice of your grandparents and friends. But so it's our honor to call forward your parents, Jed and Marissa, to share words of blessing with you and to present you with your talit.
All right. Who are you and what did you do with our daughter?
I got to bring tissues.
I have never seen you this calm, literally ever. All right. One of the things that has changed in the last 3 years since Lexi stood here was I need glasses to be able to read my speech. Good morning. Thank you all for being here to celebrate our little girl. Dear Brielle Gold, today is going to be a good day, and here's why. We get to celebrate you. All your hard work has led to this moment, and now the people in the world who love you most have come to honor this milestone in your life. Watching you up here, I am bursting with pride. When I sat down to think about what I wanted to say to you this morning, it occurred to me that you will stand here, politely smiling and looking at me as you are right now. But I know you're in your head actually thinking about a million different things. And so anything really meaningful I say about this moment will likely go in one ear and out the other. Knowing this, I decided I would instead talk to the future you, the one who's watching this in a few years, or when you're going off to college, or in 20 or 30 years, perhaps even sitting with children of your own. What would I want to say to the adult Bree? What would I wish for you? And what would I want you to know? Well, the first thing is that I absolutely love you. Always have and always will. You actually, even when you're hungry, by the way, you actually might be the hangriest person I've ever met. In fact, you should not be allowed to come in contact with people until you've had breakfast in the morning. Don't be afraid of hard things. With great struggle comes great reward. Just ask Mommy. She gave birth to you naturally. Great struggle. You came out. Great reward. If all the best things in life came easy, everyone would always have the best life. But they often don't come easy. So if you want an amazing life, it may require some struggle, and that's okay. Always be wildly and unapologetically yourself. Take risks, laugh loudly, love deeply. Try not to let the little things bother you. Cry when you need to, and embrace the sad or hurtful moments, but then let them pass. They will pass. When faced with the unknown and choices to make, don't be afraid to follow the road less traveled. It might just end up making all the difference. Bree, I watch how you study the world. Nothing gets by you. The ability to observe and process with deep emotional understanding of what's going on around you is an incredibly valuable skill. You try to recognize when people need your help and offer it with kindness and grace. Continue to be the person who advocates not just for yourself, but for others who might need your powerful voice. It's hard to describe the love you have for your children. If you're watching this someday with your own, you know. You want to give them the world, provide every possible opportunity, protect them from any pain, hurt, or injustice. For as long as I am able, I will do this for you. And along the way, hopefully teach you to thrive on your own. So Bree, in the words of Evan Hansen, all you gotta do is just believe you can be who you want to be. Sincerely, me.
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank Cantor Shira and Rabbi Avi for all of your help preparing Bree for today. Your support and guidance over the last few months and years has been invaluable, and from the bottom of my heart, our hearts, we cannot thank you enough. Honestly, this feels a little bit like Life 360, and I'm not talking about the app. I grew up with Shira. Nanny and Poppy were great friends with her parents, Cantors Judy and Herschel, and we spent a lot of our time together as young families. And Rabbi Avi, well, you came into our lives and quickly you became Uncle Avi to our girls. So standing here today with you both feels really special and very appropriate. While Rabbi Feinstein couldn't be here, he also worked with you, Bree, and I want to thank him from afar for being another one of your Jewish mentors and someone who has been a friend of our family for many, many years. I'd also like to thank our parents for not only being the amazing, supportive, and engaged grandparents that they are, but also for helping to give you the bat mitzvah of your dreams. And while Poppy cannot be with us, know that he is with us in spirit, watching and guiding us. And just like Nanny, Mama, Grandpa, and Mary, he would be so incredibly proud of your accomplishments today and every day. Finally, I have to thank Daddy for just letting me run with it and being mostly supportive. He hasn't asked to see a receipt yet. Coming. And Lexi, what can I say? Everyone should have a Lexi, when planning an event. Whether you were my car assistant or an ear when I needed an opinion, you've been there for me through everything. And Bree, it's because of your sister that many of the things you wanted for today will meet or exceed your expectations. Bree, there are two things that a parent of a teen really loves. A captive moment when their child has to pay attention to them, and being able to use that moment to talk about their incredibly amazing child. So this is that moment for me. As you may or may not know, every day I wake up and I intentionally start my day thinking about what I'm grateful for. Inevitably, I always start and end with you and your sister. I am blessed that you both chose me as your mommy, and as my mom once told me, you have both been my greatest teachers in life. But once upon a time, I was very green at this whole mom thing. Bree. Almost 16 years ago, your sister Lexi made me a mom. That's crazy. But it was you, my sweet girl, who taught me the feelings of being a mommy. You and I are inextricably tied, and from the moment you came into my life, we just got one another. We felt one another, and yes, you were and continue to be a force to be reckoned with. In fact, when I called your Uncle Matt to tell him that I was pregnant with you, his immediate response wasn't, wow, mazel tov, or that's great, or are you sure? Now you might assume, he responded by saying that he had in fact already known that I was pregnant. Now you might assume that he had seen my expanding belly, but no, at the time, Uncle Matt was living in Hawaii and I hadn't seen him in many months. But he had a friend, a psychic, who had told him that his sister was going to call and let him know that I was pregnant. Further, she said, the child that I was pregnant with was an indigo child, and she had a message for me. Look out, world, here she comes. This is all true, all true. Okay. Bree, I didn't know what an indigo child was, and I'd never heard the term. But you know Mommy, and you know how I love to research, so off to the internet I flew, and whoa, what I found you wouldn't believe. Knowing that I'd one day share this with you in a letter or perhaps even in a speech that I'd give for you, I wrote down what I found that day. The first thing I found on the internet with regard to indigo children said, if you're an indigo child, you possess extreme empathy, sensitivity, a high level of intuition, an innate spirituality, a deep desire to help the world, a special bond with animals and nature, stubbornness, a feeling of sometimes being an outsider, as well as the overall knowingness that you are unique and meant to do big things. Bree, there could not be a better definition for who you have always been, and even more so for who you are today, including the stubbornness, which, as I always tell you, will serve you even better when you're no longer living with me. Bree, you are deeply connected to your feelings and the feelings of others. This has been both a blessing and a challenge, but you've learned to channel it into your best qualities. You feel a deep desire to always help others, and whether it has manifested in your vegetarianism, which we never thought would stick, or helping the homeless, bonding with animals, or acting as the teen therapist to your friends, I am no longer surprised by the stories you share, the experiences you have, and the person you've become. You approach your life with passion and enthusiasm, and I've learned to fully embrace the indigo child in you, because it truly is the best of you. Bree, parents often stand here today and try to impart the perfect message to their child on their mitzvah day. I know that today is not the last time I'll be able to do this, but here's the message I want you to hear for now. Try to hold on to this and let it sink in. You are not solely defined by any one moment. Rather, your life and who you are is made up of a compilation of greatest hits and even some misses. This is what life is. It is a series of experiments and experiences. And I hope you will always embrace the messiness, the emotions, the joys, and your passions, whatever they are. Learn who you are and live authentically. There is no one else in this world like you, and we are all better for knowing you. The world is better for having you in it. In time, you'll figure out what your purpose is, but know that it's not about the end game. It never is. It is the journey, and you're already on it. So enjoy each and every moment, because in a moment, even this present will become the past. So I'm going to do something really silly now, but you know me. I'm going to pause. I'm going to ask you to look out at everyone in front of you, take a mental picture, and think about how it feels to be standing here right now in this moment. Moments in our life are fleeting, and if there's one thing I've learned as an adult, it's to enjoy the present because you never know what's coming next. And if you can hold on to these memories, you'll always have them in your heart. They'll fill you up and make you feel loved, nurtured, and at peace. Know now that when you look out in front of you, everyone who is here joins you out of love. Love for you, love for us, and you can always find love in your community. Now pause, take a deep breath, look at everyone, smile, and take it in. In the future, when you think about your bat mitzvah and this incredible accomplishment, truly incredible accomplishment, think about this moment and remember who you were surrounded by. It's not the party or even the Torah reading that this is really about. It's about community. You joining the Jewish community as an adult and knowing that your community will always support you, just like me, always. I love you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
All right, we are now ready to prepare to take out the Torah. At this time, for our ark opening, we call forward Leo and Millie, cousins. Where are Leo and Millie? Come on up. Shiloh, right there, Shiloh. Awesome. And Liana. Liana, come with your brother. Excellent. Yeah, come on up, Bree, Eliana, and Noah Taff, and Liana and Max to come on up to prepare to open the ark. We join together page 139, the beginning of the Torah service.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut ol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai meloch, leolam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Rachamim eitiva virtzoncha et Zion, Divenei chomot Yerushalayim, Divenei chomot Yerushalayim, Himecha levad batavnu, Melech el Ram v'nisa Adon olamim. Vayehi bin Zoharon, Vayomer Moshe, Koma Adonai, Ve'yavotzu oivecha, Ve'yanutzu misanecha mipanecha, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Odemar Adonai me'Yerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato, Berich Shemei Demarei Alma, Be'yanarachet, Velishmei Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Hanna Emar Tushbechan, Be'yanarachet, Be'yanarachet, Kadisha Yakira, Anai Martush Behan, Yeherava Kadama, the Tivali Baby Oraita, Betashli Mishali, the Liba de Cholama, Israel, the Tavul Chayid, Belishlam, Amen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Eloheinu, Adon Adonenu, Kadosh Shema.
Gadol Adonai Iti, Oneromema Shemo Yachdav. Lecha Adonai Hagenu Ola v'Hageora v'Hatiferet v'Hanetzach v'Hahod Kichol Bashamayim u'Baaretz Kichol Bashamayim u'Baaretz Lecha Adonai HaMamlacha v'Amit Na'aseh lechol erosh Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu v'har kodsho Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu v'har kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu v'har kodsho Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu v'har kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Yai dai 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 Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu v'har kodsho Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu v'har kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Ay 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 ay
right, Shabbat Shalom. You may be seated.
Yeah, I need the sheet.
Again, Shabbat Shalom. If you want to turn to the people next to you, wish them Shabbat Shalom. Around you, if you don't know each other, introduce yourselves. And if you want, since it's the week before Thanksgiving, maybe even take a moment and share one thing that you're grateful for with someone sitting next to you. Just take a moment. Great. All right. Raise your hand if you have seen the movie Rocky IV. I'm dating myself. We got it. I never thought I'd talk about Rocky IV in Shul. It's a classic. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. Noah agrees. Rabbi Farkas agrees. It is a classic. And the moment that I just want to touch on briefly is at the end of the movie, in that final bout with Ivan Drago, when the crowd starts to cheer a bit. They're in Russia, right? And the crowd starts to turn a bit and to cheer for Rocky. And at the end of the movie, that's just a side note, but at the end of the movie, one of my favorite lines, Rocky gets up and he says, anybody remember it? If I can change and you can change, all of us can change, or something like that. Remember it? Anyway, it stuck with me. If I can change and you can change, all of us can change. This may have been about relationships between the U.S. and the former Soviet Union. Might have to do with the Cold War, but I think the writers read the story of Jacob and Esau. The story that we are going to read today. The story of two brothers. A brother, Jacob, who literally held on to the heel, from the word Ekev, Yaakov, the heel of his brother as he came out of the womb. A brother who just wanted to be someone else. Jacob just wanted to hold on to be someone else, to be Esau, to have Esau's blessing. And he goes through life and he has transformative experiences to learn who he will eventually become. He has to leave his home. We know from the previous Sidra, he has to leave his home because he fears his brother's going to kill him for stealing the birthright, for stealing his father's blessing. And he leaves and he's in the middle of the desert and he has a dream. A dream we might know of angels ascending and descending a ladder. And he wakes up from that dream and he says, Achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh v'anochi lo yadati. Surely there is God in this place, but I just didn't know it. He's starting to form this connection with a higher source. I want to call that God, a greater source, something greater than he is, trying and finding some humility within himself. And he continues on that journey, and then he has another interaction with an angel or a man that he struggles with that I know Bree is going to teach us about in just a few minutes, in just a little bit. But again, he's on this journey, as Bree, as your mom spoke about, this journey that's constantly on. And he's changing along the way. And then finally, we see a meeting between the brothers. And rather than Jacob wanting to overtake his brother or show that he is greater than his brother, what does he do? He sends gifts. He realizes that it can't just be about him, that he has to share of himself with his brother. He's realizing that he has his own gifts to share, that he doesn't need to be his brother, that he can share with his brother. And when he approaches his brother Esau, he gets before him and he actually kneels before him to show his brother that he has indeed changed. And the truth is, we don't really look at this at Esau as much as we do as Jacob, because Jacob, we know Yisrael becomes the next father of the Jewish people. Right? But Esau changes too. Right? Esau is a hunter. Esau is this strong person who has a very strong personality, and yet he's willing to accept his brother. He's willing to embrace him, and we see an embrace of brothers who we may not have imagined seeing ever. And so over time, the Torah teaches us through these relationships that we as human beings can change and grow. Bria, and as your dad said, right, some of those experiences might be challenging and might be difficult, but the brothers were able to see the reward of that growth when they embraced each other for the first time. This is a story, not just that was written thousands of years ago. It's not just a story to read, but it's a story for all of us to internalize, to think about ourselves, to think about who we are and who we want to become. Because the truth is, we are always in a phase of becoming. You can join along as Bree reads for us from the Torah, page 198, in the red Chumash. Rabbis Shira, Cantor Baron.
ויעזור ויגן ויושיע לכל החוסים בו ונאמר אמן. הכל הבו גודל אלוהינו ותנו כבוד לתורה. יעמדו יעקב בן ראובן ורזל ומלכה בן שמעון וטובה ראשונים. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. ואתם הדבקים באדוני אלוהיכם חיים כולכם היום.
Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Hamid Venatamanu et Toratu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayishlach Yaakov Ma'alachim Lefanav Elesav Achiv Atzat Seir Stay Edom Vayitzav Otam Lemor Ko Tamrun Ladoni Leisav Ko Amar Ata Yaakov Im Lavan Garti Echar Ad Ata
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam Asher natan lanu Torah emes V'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
יעמדו טובה בת יזרעאל וחנה ומתתיהו בן שמעון וטובה לעלייה השנייה.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol hamid, Benatan lanu et torto, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayehili shor v'chamor son ve'eved v'shivcha ve'eshlecha lechagit ladoni limtzochein be'enecha vayashuvu hamalachim el Yaakov lemor banu el achicha el asav ve'gam kolech likratcha ve'arba me'ot ish imo.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yamdu Rezel bat Moshe v'Miriam v'Perchia bat Ruven v'Rezel la'aliyah shlishit. Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar lanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayira Yaakov me'od vayetzer lo, vayachatz et ha'am asher ito, ve'et hatzon, ve'et habakar, ve'hagmalim, lishnei machanot. Vayomer im yavo Esav el hamachane hani hachat, ve'hikahil, ve'haya hamachane hanishar lifleita.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yamdu Reuven ben Yitzchak v'Avigail v'Miriam Shena bat Avraham v'Sara la'aliyah revi'it.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Yaakov Elohei Avi Avraham ve'Elohei Avi Yitzchak Adonai Haomer Alai Shuv L'Tzecha Umoladatecha V'yativa Imach Katonti umiko achasadim umiko ha'emet asher asita et abdecha ki v'makli avarti et hayarden hazeh ata hayiti lishnei machanot.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yamdu Ahuva bat Michal ve'Yehudit ve'Harav Avi ben Hershel Halevi ve'Yehudit ve'Metuka bat Yaakov ve'Risa ויהודה בן ברוך ושושנה לעלייה החמישית. ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן.
הצילני נא מיד אחי מיד עשיו כי ירא אנוכי אותו פן יבוא והיכני אם על בנים. ואתה אמרת היטב היטיב עמך ושמתי את זרעך ככל הים אשר לא ייספר מרוב.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא דברך ירצה וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ועלמא ויאמרו amen.
Baron will now officially call Bree to the Torah as a bat mitzvah.
Tamod, Tamod, Bachurata bat mitzvah, Gabriela bat Yaakov Malka, Maftir Chizki, Chizki.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Ve'ele shemot alufei Esav Lemishpechotam, limukomotam, bishmotam, aluf timna, aluf alva, aluf yatet, aluf ahalibama, aluf elah, aluf pinon, aluf kenaz, aluf teman, aluf mibzar, aluf magdiel, aluf iram, elah alufei edom, limoshvotam be'eretz achuzatam, hu Esav, Avi Adom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nota betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yamdu hamagbia v'hagolelot. We call Nati Schnittman, Julian Ostrand, and Dana Engelman to lift and dress the Torah.
As well as Tammy and Roni. Come on forward. Come on forward as well. We rise together as the Sefer Torah is raised and rolled. There's Nati. Nati's going to
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני וירא משה.
Torah אשר שם משה
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה וזאת התורה
You may be seated. At this time, Bree will share with us words of Torah. Followed by Bree's words of Torah, we will continue with the Haftarah, page 222 in the Eitz Chaim Chumash.
Good morning. Looking at all of you, I am so grateful we are all here in person and not on Zoom. Thank you for all joining me on this special day. As I stand here today, I can't help but think how lucky I am. But let's face it, I'm not the only one. You're pretty lucky too. Prior to COVID, this service used to start an hour earlier and end half an hour later. I think we can all agree we like this shortened version much better. As I stand here today, I can't, oopsies. When I sat down with Rabbi Feinstein, he said, Bree, not many kids get to stand up in front of their community. What do you want people to take away from this? What does becoming a bat mitzvah mean to you? Well, a few years ago, I would have said it means having a big party where you get a lot of presents. Today, I realize it represents me officially entering the next chapter of my life, one that comes with more responsibility, bigger expectations that I will make smart decisions, and hopefully the beginning of a growth spurt. But even if not, as my mom has always said, although she be but little, she is fierce. The past year and a half has forced us all to adapt, be patient, and flexible. 3 things my parents will tell you I'm not always the best at. Sometimes things happen in life which force us to grow and change. Like many kids, I had to wrestle with all the changes COVID forced on my life. So, I guess to answer Rabbi Feinstein's question, becoming a bat mitzvah represents a period of great growth and new maturity. I'm not the only one who has wrestled and changed. In my Torah portion, Jacob is returning to his brother Esau after many years of not speaking. Jacob had wronged Esau, and he knew Esau's intention was to kill him. The night before their meeting, Jacob wrestles with some kind of a mysterious creature, or perhaps an angel, which represents this moment in his life when he must rethink everything. I believe this is actually him wrestling with his conscience, forcing him to think about not only how he is going to handle the meeting with his brother, but more importantly, what kind of person he wanted to be. I did not wrestle with an angel, but like everyone else, COVID forced me to think about my life in a new way. I became more grateful for my family, friends, school, and the many great things in my life. Perhaps you can think about how COVID made you rethink your life. For my Mitzvah project, I decided to work with School on Wheels, an organization dedicated to educating children in grades K through 12 who are homeless in California. They bring mobile tutoring to kids living on the streets, in shelters, and in cars. I partner with 3 Heartstrings, which makes bracelets, and in the month of November, they are giving the proceeds to School on Wheels. I couldn't have gone here today without a lot of help. Shira, you made sure I was well prepared to stand up here today. You've been so patient, and I will really miss seeing you and our sessions together. Rabbi Feinstein, who's here but on Zoom. You've been such an important part of my family's life, and as a student at VBS I remember the many important lessons that you taught. Rabbi Avi, better known to me as Uncle Avi. I've known you almost my entire life. Thank you for always being so supportive of me, and of course, for leading us today. To my grandparents, thank you for always being so loving and supporting through every step of the way. Lexi, where can I possibly begin? Well, I was planning on saying only nice things, but then, the other day, you threw a ball at my head, and I almost changed my speech. But the truth is, you are my biggest inspiration. Whenever I'm in a situation and not sure how to respond, I think, what would Lexi do? You are such an amazing person, and I am so lucky to have you as my role model. I love coming home every day and telling you everything. I know I will always have you by my side, and I want you to know you will always have me. As Mommy says, sisters first, always. Daddy, words cannot describe how much I love you. You make me feel safe, and I always know I can count on you to be there to support me. You have a sense of humor only a daughter could love. And I do. We laugh a lot. I see how hard you work for our family, and I appreciate the work ethic you are instilling in me. You will always be my number one dad. I love you. Mommy, you get me. It's like you know exactly how to relate to me and what I need. You have always been there to help me with anything, whether it's serious or I just need a laugh. You take care of me, and I know how hard you have worked to make this weekend magical, and I am so appreciative. I love you so much. Finally, thank you to all my friends and family who have supported me, cheered me on, and made me feel loved. I've been dreaming about this day since I watched Lexi stand here 3 years ago, and standing here now, I couldn't be more excited. Shabbat Shalom.
Again, we join page 222 for the Haftarah in the Red Chumash. We will chant the brachot. Sister Lexi will chant as well. Page 222.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzah v'divrehem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'b'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Chazon Ovadia ko amar Adonai Elohim le'edom Shmu'a shamanu me'ei Adonai v'tzir bagoyim shulach kumu benakuma alecha lamilchama hine katon netaticha agoyim bazoi ata me'od zedon libcha hishiecha shochni vechag vesela merom shivto Omer belibo mi yoredeni aretz. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol haolamim tzadik bechol hadorot ha'el haneman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber umkayen shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emanim devarecha v'davar echad mivarecha achor lo yashuv rekam ki el melech ne'eman v'rachaman ata baruch ata Adonai ha'el hane'eman bechol devarav. Rachem al Tzion ki hi beit chayenu V'la aluvat nefesh toshia b'imheira ve'amenu baruch atah Adonai Mesameach Sion bevanecha. Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Eliyahu Hanavi Avdecha Uvmalchut Beit David Meshichecha Bimheira Yavo ve'Yagel Iveinu Al Kisolo Yeshev Zar ve'lo Yinchalu Od Acherim Et Kevodo Ki V'Shem Kodshecha Nishbak Talo Shalo Yichbenero Leolam Va'ed Baruch Ata Adonai Magen David
Amen.
Al HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al HaNvi'im Ve'al Yom HaShabbat Hazeh Shenatata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha Ve'limnucha Lechavod Ultifaret Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim lach Umvarchim otach Yiparach shimcha Befi kol chai Tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai V'kadosh HaShabbat
Mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, Yehelanu. Simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, Yehelanu. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Olechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Olechol Yisrael. David Melech Yisrael, Chai v'kayam. David Melech Yisrael, Chai v'kayam.
Can I have a piece? There's so much candy bar.
It is an age-old tradition to celebrate the bar bat mitzvah by throwing sun-kissed candy at them. And we're not going to let COVID get in the way of that. Offer you blessings that have been given to B'nai Mitzvah, Bri for generations. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah u'yivarech et Gabriela bat Yaakov v'Malka שהגיעה למצוות ועלתה לכבוד המקום ולכבוד התורה ולכבוד השבת. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמריה ויחייה ויכונן את ליבה להיות שלמה עם אדוני אלוהיה, להגות בתורתו, ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו. Vishlach bracha ve'atzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yedea. Yiratzon shizku horea. Legodla, leTorah, lechupa, ulema'asim tovim v'timtzachen v'sechel tov b'nei Elohim v'adam v'nomar. Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Bree, who has been called to the Torah upon reaching the age of mitzvot with reverence for God, the Torah, and Shabbat. May God protect and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, to continue to study Torah and to fulfill mitzvot, and to walk in God's ways. May your parents, Jed and Marissa, continue to rear you to maturity, guiding you to a love of Torah, to the chuppah, and to a life of good deeds, ma'asim tovim. May you find favor before God and this entire community. And together we say, Amen. Amen. Mazel tov, Bree. Everyone say Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Bree. Here. I need to get these. We have a few gifts for you. All right. Let's say your name. Brielle, there it is. On behalf of the sisterhood, the women of our congregation, we have a beautiful Kiddush cup, which we hope you will use on Shabbat. We have from our brotherhood a tzedakah box. And we know from, especially you told us today about how your mitzvah project is to care for homeless children, School on Wheels. And we know that you will continue to care for that particular cause, but so many others. And so we hope you use your tzedakah box before Shabbat to give tzedakah and at other times as well. We also have Rabbi Feinstein's book, Tough Questions Jews Ask. It's a great one. And we hope that you'll read through it. And we always know that you know that if you have any tough questions, that his office is always open to you to come and ask those questions. And so that is for you from the Jewish Federation of Los Angeles. We have a book entitled Israel Matters. We hope that you will read that. The report is due in 2 weeks. Just kidding. Okay. In addition, we have a certificate of bat mitzvah, which we hope you'll place on your wall at home. And we have paired you with a righteous Gentile, someone who had helped save Jews during the time of the Holocaust. And so this is another gift for you as well on this day. I want to offer you one last blessing. Bree. Yeah, just get it out. Perfect. First of all, Bree, you led us so beautifully in Tefillah today. You read Torah so beautifully, with so much poise and so much confidence. And I know I can speak on behalf of everyone here who loves you and our entire community in saying that we are just so proud of you. We're proud of you for what you accomplished today, but more so, we're proud of you for who you are. And your parents spoke beautifully about it, and then last night, your grandparents and friends have spoken about the type of person that you are. And when I think about the Torah reading that you read today, and you think about the relationship, you think about Jacob and Esau, and how Jacob was holding on to Esau's ankle, right, as he was coming out of the womb. And that idea that he just wanted to be someone else. He wanted to be in his brother's place. We know for a number of reasons that you weren't holding on to anyone's ankle as you came out. But we know that you came out proud of who you are, knowing exactly who you are, what you care about. You came out with that sense of compassion and that sense of care that your parents spoke about. you have a deep sense of who you are in the world. And that this world is a place to, yes, care for yourself, but that you have this deep care and sense of responsibility to care for other people. And I've seen that as I've watched you grow up, and I just saw it yesterday as you made sure to celebrate Noah, whose birthday it was. You even called her the day before your bar mitzvah, and you celebrated, and you made sure to celebrate. You are always looking out for those around you, taking care of those around you, taking care of the children, your cousins, your friends, your neighbors. Your eyes are always open, as are your arms, and as is your heart, always open to embrace others. And so our blessing to you today, Bree, is that you strive to continue to be you, to follow that moral compass, to follow those values that are so deeply ingrained in you, that also come from your family, but are a part of just who you are as a person. That you continue to reach inwards, to find that within you. And as your dad said, there are going to be challenging moments along the way, but to continue to come back to that center, to that core, to those values that you embody, to be able to overcome those challenges. And in moments that you might find difficult, where you are trying to see yourself and to find those values which you do hold dear, you can also look out, as you've been asked to do numerous times, to look out to the people who care about you, who love you, who embrace you, to your parents, your grandparents, aunts and uncles, your cousins, your friends, and your community. Know that we will always be here to support you, to be your biggest cheerleaders, and to help you as you continue to walk on this path, as you continue to become, as you continue to be your best self in the world. We wish you mazel tov. May you go from strength to greater strength. We offer you blessings that have been given to B'nai Mitzvah for generations. And so at this time, I call forward your parents, Jed and Marissa, to come forward, to hold you close. As we offer you the priestly blessing, Yesimech Elohim Kesara Rivka Rachel V'Leah. May you be blessed like all of our ancient ones and all the amazing women who have come before you. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lach shalom. May God continue to bless you and protect you. May God's light shine upon you and through you. May God be gracious to you, kind to you. May you continue to share that graciousness and kindness with others. May God grant you shalom, grant you peace. And together we say, Amen. Amen. We extend our wishes of mazel tov to the entire family. We ask all the family, grandparents, family to rise and accept our blessings of mazel tov. We ask friends, please stand, rise, and accept our blessings of mazel tov, and the entire community to rise as well as we share blessings of Shechianu, thanking God for helping us to reach this beautiful moment in Bree's life. Together, the words of Shechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu
Lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu Lazman hazeh.
praise to you, God, ruler of the universe, who has kept us in life, sustained us, and helped us to reach this beautiful moment. And together we say, Amen. Amen. You may be seated. We join together as Bree leads us in the Ashrei.
Ashrei yoshvei vetecha, od yehallelucha selah.
Ashrei ha'am shekachalo, Ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav.
Tehila leDavid, aromimcha Elohai hamelech, v'avracha shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Bechol
Yom
yom
avarchecha, v'halel
Simcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai hula me'od, ve'ligdulato ein cheker.
Dor ledor yesabach ma'asecha, ugvurotecha yagidu.
Hadar kevod hodecha, v'difrei niflotecha asicha.
Ve'ezuz norotecha
yomeru, ugdulatcha asaprena.
Zecher avtivcha yabiyu, v'tzitchascha yaranenu.
Chanun verachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdul chased.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav kol ma'asav.
Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasitecha yevarchucha.
Kevod malchutcha yomeru, uvuratcha yedaberu.
Lehodia livnei ha'adam gevrotav, uchvod hadar malchuto.
Malchutcha malchut kol olamim, umemshocha b'chol dor vador.
Tomech Adonai lechol hanoflim, v'zokech lechol hakfufim.
Einei kol elecha yesaberu, ve'ata noten lahem et ochlam be'ito.
Poteach et yadecha, umaspia lechol chai ratzon.
Tzadik Adonai bechol deracha, ve'chasid bekol ma'asav.
Karov Adonai lechol chorav, lechol asher yikre'u ve'emet.
Ratzon yerei yav yaseh, ve'et shavtam yishmei ve'yoshiyem.
Shomer Adonai et kol ohav, et kol harshaim yashmid.
Tehilat Adonai yedaber pi,
Vivarech kol basar, Shem kodsho le'olam va'ed. V'anachnu nevarech ya, le'tav yad olam, hallelujah.
We rise together for the prayer for the state of Israel as we continue to pray for all the inhabitants of the state of Israel at this time. Page 149 in our Siddur. Avinu Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael V'Goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Geulatenu. Agen alea be'evrat chasdecha, ufros alea sukat shlomecha. Ushlach orcha v'amitcha l'rashea sarea v'yoatzea, v'taknem be'etzah tova milfanecha. Chazek et yidei meginei eretz kodshenu, malchilem Eloheinu Yeshua, v'yater et nitzachon teatrem. V'natata shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat olam liyoshvea, v'nomar amen. Seated. We take a moment, even on Shabbat, although we don't petition God, we ask for healing at all times, especially after the last year and 8 months. Ask for healing for all of us in this room and for all those in need of healing at this time. We sing together the words of Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing and let us say Amen.
Ask for healing for Joyce Kishinev, Marilyn Bronstein, Rachel Davies, Darlene Hershinger, Sandra Struman, Malcolm Bernstein, Martha Robin, Yehudit Bat Liba Sivia, Marcy Grinholk, Rachel Fega Bat Basabela, Hendel bat Ruchel, Leah Batia bat Masha, Yoel ben Chanalea, Arlene Posen, Harav Tzivia Chana bat Sarah, Yerachmiel Yosef, Judy Stiebel, Yudit Chana bat Pressa, Lee Rose, Jay Mortimer, Cheryl Weisberg, Shulamit bat Nina, Avery Golden, Elizabeth Gilon, Elisheva bat Zara, Ellen Bran, Aviva bat Gittel, Daniel Donati, Danielle ben Netanel, Iris Smith, Aline Smith, Susie Frederick. This time, take a moment if you want to just out loud say the name of someone who you know who is in need of healing at this time. Let's say it all together at once. If you know the names, say them out loud. All those in our world, in our community, and in our world who are in need of healing at this time. We join together in the words of Yishaberach.
Yishaberach imoteinu ekor habracha le'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
Amen. We prepare refuah shlema, speedy and full recovery to everyone mentioned today and to all those in our world in need of healing. We prepare to return the Torah to the Ark, page 153. We call forward our Ark openers, Chloe Rumbold, Charlotte Raphael, Ali Schoenfeld, Julia Waldman to open the Ark, page 153.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizkar shemo levado, hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren leyamo, tehila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Israel ve'oraita, Kodeshah beriva, Charo, Israel ve'oraita, Kodeshah beriva, Charo, Torah ora, Torah ora,
standing, Aleinu, page 183.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומסתרבים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שרת השמיים יוסר ארץ. כך כתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
You may be seated. This week, our communities sustained a number of losses, and so we extend our condolences. We send our condolences to all the families of those whom we physically lost today, but who will remain with us. Specifically, we remember Lois Manning, sister of Debbie, Dr. Moshe Arditi; Ann Mills, wife of Dr. Harold Mills, mother of Adele, Paul Reinstein Mills; Linda Peter Goodrich Mills, grandmother Marissa and Craig Mills; and Ronnie Goodrich, sister of Rita and Jack Cinder; George E. Moss, father of Karen and David Familian Moss; Steve and Janet Moss; Richard and Tina Moss, grandfather of Jonathan Moss, Maximilian Familian; Samantha Moss; Jacob Moss, great-grandfather of 3. All those observing Yahrzeit or in your period of mourning, we join together in the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Today, we also hold with us in our minds and in our hearts Steve Parker. May his memory be for a blessing. Bree's grandfather, who we know is with us in spirit and shining down and smiling so brightly as we saw Bree become Bat Mitzvah today. We rise, if you're observing or reciting Kaddish, it's a custom in our community that if you see someone standing alone, that we stand with them in solidarity. Page 184, Kaddish Yatom in one moment. I also want to extend condolences to Shirley Belenfant, as we just concluded Shiva for Joel. May Joel's memory be for a blessing, Shirley, always. Page 184. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam u'mei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shmei dekucha brichu, le'ela minkol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in the heavens help us to make peace here on earth. Bring peace to all families in need of healing at this time. May all of those who we remember today may their memory be for a blessing always, and together we say, Amen, Amen. Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Again, a Mazel Tov to Bree, the entire Gold family, and Parker families. Mazel Tov. We'll say it one more time. Mazel Tov. There we go. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Yasher Koach to Cantor Shira Fox for teaching Bree so beautifully and helping to lead us, along with Cantor Barron. Cantor Barron, Yasher Koach, always a pleasure to daven with you. Yasher Koach also to Ron Ryder and Mark Rich, our Gabaim today. Thank you for being with us. To everyone for participating in our service, bringing your spirit and your ruach, and joining us for Shabbat. We're going to conclude together. We're going to invite the family up. So come on, family. Grandparents, come on up. We'll stand together as we join together in Kiddush. Bree leads us, followed by Adonu. Let's rise as a community. We can put our arms around each other. We'll sing together. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat. Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Okay.
Amru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. B'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz
Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Ubayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Al ken berach Adonai et yom ha-Shabbat v'yikadsheu savri l'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra ve'et nasa v'chetzo kol zay melech shemo nikra ve'acharei b'chlot hakol levado imnoch Torah ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yiyeh Afkid ruchi ve'etisha ve'ahira ve'im ruchi Adonai li velo irai. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Shabbat shalom.